Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you in another video. Alright, so as I said, I want to make another NBA video walking out of the Target here. Got everything I wanted to get, but not everything I wanted to get out in regards to talking about this team. So, the Memphis Grizzlies, man, they got to make a decision. I'm going to be honest with you. The Memphis Grizzlies are going to be in a weird spot when Ja Morant gets back, because to be honest with you, they're a tanking team right now, and he is not a tanking player, and he's only going to miss 25 games. There's more than 50 more games after that. Do they want to compete, or do they want to go after that pick? Now, far be it from me to tell you I'm an expert on Grizzlies pick situations. I don't know. For all I know, they don't own their pick. So if they don't own their pick, please forgive me for even having this conversation. But if assuming they have their own pick and can draft whoever would be available to them, I think it'd be a great idea for the Memphis Grizzlies to tank this season. If that's the case, Ja's in the way of that, man. His return could potentially put them in a position to win too many games if he plays well. And this is an opportunity to get the best player available to maybe slot into your small forward position, maybe slot into your power forward position, move JJ to the 5, or maybe even get yourself a 5, whatever would be available to get the best possible talent. And I'm not saying trade Ja Morant necessarily, but they don't need him coming back being an MVP candidate. They really don't. Because they're already going to be down too many games. The pace they're going, being 2-9, they're already going to be down too many games to really do anything. And so bringing him back to do what it is that he's ultimately going to do after 25 games is going to nestle them just in a position to be mediocre. And that is a no man's land situation. Now, you could do great things from there. The Lakers, in fact, probably found themselves in a similar situation last year when we made the trade to get Russell Westbrook and all those guys to a different space and brought ourselves the talent that we ultimately have right now. We were able to make the play-in tournament and ultimately get to the Western Conference Finals. Problem is, I don't think that's the Memphis future. I do not think that's in their future at all. And it would probably be best for them to win the lottery or to at least be in that top 5. So they got Desmond Bane as a winning player on a massive, massive contract. They could benefit greatly from a rookie contract that naturally comes their way from just getting lucky and being bad this year. Because then you got Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson, and Bane all on huge contracts, and then that rookie guy, whoever that would be, playing extremely well on dirt and cheap contracts. So that's what I think they should do. I think they should tank. I don't know what that means for Ja Morant. Obviously, this is like right before his prime. It's a redemption year for him when he comes back from this suspension. He's going to want to play great basketball for his team. And that's just going to get in the way of them winning. That's going to get in the way of them being able to do what it is ultimately, or rather losing, which would be winning in this situation, allow them to get that lottery pick. So they got a decision to make. I don't think they want to trade Ja Morant. I don't think it's necessary to trade Ja Morant to do this. But he's not injured. He's suspended. So he's coming back 100% healthy. He's able to work out with the team. I expect him to come in and play in all-star ball, averaging probably close to 25, 30 points a game. So that is a problem if you're trying to get out of no man's land and ultimately get as good as you want to be. That's a problem. You can't get a top 5 pick doing that, in theory. So that's what I'm saying to you guys, man. I do believe that the Memphis Grizzlies have a very serious decision to make about what direction they want to go with their team. Now, injuries could pop up and kind of make that decision for them. Knock on wood, it doesn't happen. But assuming everybody that they have right now stays healthy, you're getting Brandon Clark back. You're getting Ja Morant back. That's you're going to be a little too good to be bad enough to win the lottery, and a little too bad to be good enough to win the championship. It's a no man's land year. And like I said, with Desmond Bane on a $250 million contract, you want to offset that with a high-level rookie on a rookie contract. This is what's best for you. So if I'm the Memphis Grizzlies, that's exactly what I'm thinking about right now. We got to make a decision about how we want to go forward. We're going to have to tell Ja Morant that this is what's best for us, and Desmond Bane, this is what's best for us, Jaren Jackson, this is what's best for us, and just tank the season out, bro. Get yourself one of them high-level teammates that can be in place, that should likely be entering a very good space in his career when you guys' contracts are expired. That's what's best for the Memphis Grizzlies. or give them a fantastic trade piece to get them another win now talent that otherwise they wouldn't be able to pick up without giving away one of them 3 dudes. So for me, that's tricky though, because a guy like Ja Morant, what is he, 24, 20, 25 years old, something like that? This is a prime year for him to try to do fantastic things. But if I'm in that locker room, I'm looking at him saying, bro, this your fault. If you wasn't trying to play gangster, you would have had a full season out of this thing. If anybody got in your way, it's you. And now we need you to get out of the way so we can lose, so that we can get this damn lottery pick that ultimately we'd be best for getting. Starting the season 2-9, getting smoked by the Lakers, you know, and you beat the lowly Clippers after they did something that messed their whole situation up. And you only won one other game other than that? And we already 11 games in? Nah, man. Nah, I think it's a tank year for the Memphis Grizzlies, and I think they would benefit greatly and bounce back very strong for tanking this year, especially if they get a top 5 lottery pick. Tanking is the way to go. So I really think that, and you got to consider, they got some bad teams out west. I'm not going to lie, man. The Blazers are going to be pretty bad this year. Doesn't look like Scoot Henderson's going to have a good start to his career. The injuries are already piling up. He didn't look good when he was out there, and they're probably going to want him to shut down. Even though they got Anthony Simons, who's probably going to be coming back at a high level, they're not going to be that good, not in comparison to what the Western Conference would be expected to be. And, you know, it's a few others as well. So it's like, can you put yourself in a position, if you're the Grizzlies, to continue to be as bad as you are so you can give yourself the best possible pick? And the answer is yes. Yes. If you take the foot off the gas right now and continue to lose, and when Ja gets back, keep that losing up. Another team I'm thinking about right now is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Boy, have they started the season in a good way. You got back. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves, in my opinion, are benefiting from having fought so hard to make the playoffs and win and get through that first round without so much of what it is that they benefit from right now. And you bring back McDaniels, and you bring back Reed, who was playing well at the end of the season, but both of those guys went down with broken bones. And you have a guy like Miller who comes in, who's already, we know that rookie Leonard Miller is a ready-made player with a lot of strength, defensive intangibles, and can score the ball. One of the better rookies in the back of the first round. Probably should have been taken sooner than he was by my Los Angeles Lakers, if I may be real. But nevertheless, when you got players like that coming in, and you got Cat healthy, you got Gobert now, who understands his role, who's been there for a couple years. You got Ant-Man, who's one of the best players in all of basketball in a year where he's starting to enter his prime years. You're a contender. And you're a contender with good defensive talent. You're a contender with big bodies. You're a contender with the depth on your team. I don't think this is a fake thing for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't think they're going to suck going forward after having a good start. I think they're going to continue to play well because of what they learned about themselves in the playoffs, missing 2 of those very key guys. So I like them this year to be much better than we thought. Obviously, they're a win-now team, having given up literally everything for Rudy Gobert. But I think they did a good job in bringing in some talent that can help make them better. Shake Milton, as I said, Leonard Miller, guy by the name of Troy Brown with my Lakers, who I call a professional jogger, but can definitely help a team, a glue guy who can give you good minutes, who is competent enough to where you're going to win games if he's playing well. I mean, they got a good team, man. And brought back a lot of the guys from last year, so the cohesiveness is there. I don't dislike the Minnesota Timberwolves this year. I hated the trade that got Rudy Gobert there, but I think they've done a pretty solid job of making themselves a legitimate playoff team this year, and their record shows it. I think they're, 4th or 3rd in the West? I think that's for real. And another team I think is really interesting is the Dallas Mavericks. You know, when you got Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, that you're going to have a chance to score on every possession. You know that. But when you also operate bringing in players like Max Prosper and Derek Lively and Rashad Holmes, they just added some really good defensive pieces to ultimately complement who they are. And I think they're benefiting a great deal from that. And when you have enough around 2 juggernaut talents like Luka and Kyrie, it ain't really hard to see where the wins could come from. Now, health is going to be the story for those guys. And Luka Doncic is basically your MVP right now, in my opinion. Him or Jokic are the guys that I would give your MVP conversation the highest credence, but through 10, 11 games. But at the end of the day, if you ask me, the Dallas Mavericks are very much a team that you have to be worried about if you're in the Western Conference. This doesn't have to end. If they stay healthy, it's not like Luka's going to get any worse. It's not like Kyrie's going to forget how to do the things that he does best. And they have players now that can play some defense around them to complement them. That should be considered a dangerous thing for the Western Conference. So, yeah, that's something I'm looking at as a Laker fan. I'm looking at all these teams emerging. I'm glad we're above 500, but the competition is strong. Another team you obviously got to take a good look at is the Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets have won, 6 straight basketball games? They got new coaching. They got new reinforcements surrounding their young players. And to be honest with you, they haven't even had their 2 lottery picks. Well, one of them ain't a lottery pick, but he should have been in Cam Whitmore and Amen Thompson. And they've been balling out of control. You know, guys like Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet are starting off the year very strong. You got, Alperen Sengun, who's ultimately playing like an all-star right now, the baby Jokic. You got Jabari Smith, who's kind of fell into the role of complimentary piece to those guys. You got Jalen Green, who's having a fantastic start to his year rather. You got guys like Deshaun Tate and the other small forwards on the team. Green, the other Green, Jeff Green. You got Terry Eason also playing at a high level off of your bench. I mean, they just have a very deep team with excellent coaching. So it's not surprising that they're winning, because you knew Ime Udoka knows what he's doing. And this may be just as talented of a team as he had with Boston from top to bottom, to be honest. So the fact that they're in the playoff conversation is not surprising to me. And I told you guys in the summertime, I'm not surprised. I would not be surprised whether if the Houston Rockets are one of the best teams in the NBA, because of all these things we just mentioned. The fact that they did get Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore. This is too much talent. Terry Eason at the small forward. You know, small forward is one of the positions in this league that you want to have a lot of depth in. And I could argue they have the most depth of that position than anybody in the league. When you consider the talented players that they can slot in that position at such a high level, given the fact they are lottery picks. You know, Terry Eason from last year. Amen Thompson can play some 3. As I said, Deshaun Tate. You know, it just goes on and on and on. You know, Dylan Brooks, as I've already mentioned. And so when you got that type of talent, losing games ain't going to be something you do very much. And the problem that they had last year was the hot and cold, sometimes injured, sometimes not problem with the point guard position that they had last year with Porter, who is now out permanently based on his legal circumstances. And they traded him away to OKC, who I'm sure has waived him by now. So he's gone. And you replace him with an NBA champion in Fred VanVleet. So it's like now you got a legitimate star point guard in your situation. And because that point guard is in place, now you can see this settling in of everybody else around you. All those talented players. You can let Amen Thompson grow into whatever position he wants to turn into. You can send Cam Whitmore to the G League knowing that he's going to be a dominant player at the end of the year. You can do all these things because you have so much depth and because you have such sturdy stars in Sengun and Fred VanVleet. And with Green stepping into his own, we know how high his ceiling goes in his athleticism and what type of trick shots and streaky nature he can come up with. He's only going to turn into an elite shooting guard. This team, with Ime Udoka running it, could end up winning a championship within the next 3 years. And I'm not going to be the guy that would be overly surprised if they won it this year, because of how talented all those guys actually are and how dominant they're going to be athletically. Now, I'm not putting any money on that, and I don't suggest you do either. But what I'm telling you is the ceiling of all of their talent on any given night should win any given basketball game. Especially if Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore actually get their footing on this basketball team. It could turn into something really deadly for everybody else, because you're not going to be able to match the athleticism that they have on the floor. You're not going to. Not with Green, not with Whitmore, not with Amen Thompson. I don't think there are any 3 players in this league that are more athletic than those 3. Not on one team. No, not at all. And so that's what it really comes down to. And when you couple that with the ability to shoot the ball, for which they have, a cerebral center who's passing the rock around like Jokic, who's a bruiser, who's going to likely pick up fouls against guys like Jokic to get them off the floor quicker than a lot of centers will. I mean, I won't be surprised if something unprecedented happens with that young team. I will not be surprised, man. You're already seeing it in Houston in football, with C.J. Stroud being your leading MVP candidate. Houston got something special going on with both of their teams right now, and I'm not going to poo-poo the possibility of something special happening in Houston right before our very eyes. I'm not going to poo-poo that. They have too much talent. I'm too aware of it. Too many strengths in the open court. Too many strengths in the half court. They can play any style they want to. And when you're talking about a guy like Fred VanVleet, who's already won a championship, he can lead the way to help them do whatever it is they're going to do, so long as he stays healthy and helps on both sides of the floor and doesn't have a year like he had last year, where he was missing a lot of shots, man, and doing a lot of things that he should not have done in regards to kind of being a little selfish, trying to make sure he gets his contract that he ultimately got right here with the Rockets. So I think all of that's behind him. He's in a new situation, and he's seamlessly fitting in great in that rotation. So, and with plenty of talent behind him and around him, they're a dangerous basketball club, man. I'm telling y'all, the Houston Rockets are a dangerous basketball club. So that's pretty much what I got to say. My name's BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.